And welcome to another Q&A with Alan and Marshall. Alan is currently traveling. He's on a plane to Detroit right now. So we have the always awesome Peter Walsh with M&R sitting in for him today. How are you doing, Peter?
Well, I don't think I'm worthy. I'm not. Alan is, after all, an Academy member, a man who's given so much to the garment, textile, screen printing industry, and I've just taken, Marshall, in a career of, like 35 years, I've been nothing but a taker from this industry, and to sit here in Alan's seat, I'm just a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, so by the way, where are you right now? You're not in Chicago.
Hey, speaking of being uncomfortable, I am in the belly of the beast. I am in Dallas, Texas, at the GSG headquarters. My Uber driver from the hotel to the building today was Mr. Mark Granbury, who's, of course, the CEO of Graphic Solutions Group. And I've had people following me around, making sure that I'm not stealing candy or any secrets. But yeah, it's great to be able to be down here. They have an awesome facility down here, and just a fantastic group of people who really have that commitment to customer service. And it's kind of inspiring to spend some time around these people. So it's been a great part of the trip so far.
That's great. I went last year. I went and Mark gave me a tour of the place, so we did a little fun video together. So
Fantastic.
I know exactly where you are. It's a lot of fun. So, hey, I got a lot of people signing in, so we want to start saying hello. But before I do that, I'd like to remind everybody that this is a Q&A show. So we really need you guys to ask questions, to comment, to get engaged. Peter's here for a reason. He's here to ask you questions and to answer your questions also. So make sure that you get engaged and take advantage of that. And then we would also really love it if you wouldn't take 2 seconds and share that you're watching this right now, because we want to build our audience. It's important to us, right? So please share. So
hey, listen, Marshall, as bad as this presentation could be today, I would encourage people, do not admit that you were watching it. Don't let anyone know that you're actually getting information, particularly if you own a different brand of equipment than M&R. Don't let anyone find out you are watching this normally neutral, even, fair and balanced broadcast by Marshall and Alan, because we've absolutely taken a little bit of a blue tinge this week. So
it's so great to have a blue tinge. As much as I appreciate the other colors of the manufacturers, and I have a great love and respect for them. My roots have always gone back to M&R. The shops that I've run, as you know, have all been M&R. And I actually have known you for 20 years. I don't even know how long. When did we meet? Do you even remember?
Yeah, I do. We met when you were at the shop down in Florida.
Yep.
And you were looking at that time, implementing some continuous improvement programs, some Six Sigma programs. And we had a Six Sigma person, Cassie Schaefer, on our staff at the time, who was getting towards implementing the ISO 9001 certification at M&R, at NASDAQ, Freudian slip. Right. And you clearly did not want to implement something as stringent as ISO, but you really wanted to take those practices. So we got you hooked up with Cassie, and you went your own way, and certainly have proved out that screen printers who are organized, screen printers that take a structured manufacturing type approach to printing are going to be more successful than the people that are just ad hoc. And right. Through that, you and I met, and we have been friends. And I must say, you've never bought anything from me. So clearly I suck at sales, but I'm probably do okay at building relationships with people, even if they don't trust me enough to buy something.
Well, I think the owners of the shops that I work for bought stuff.
Oh, they may have.
But anyway, so let's say hi to some people. So our good friend Greg Kitson's here. Good morning.
Another
Val's
troublemaker.
watching from Port Huron. Val and Pete. Ghost, of course, is here like he is every week from Uppsala, Sweden. Dan Campbell's in. Good morning, Dan. Charles is watching from New Mexico. Good morning. William Mitchell's here. Hey, Peter, thanks for being here, he says. Brian's here from icy morning in mid-Missouri. Mario's here stretching Newman's and listening to the show. Hello from Slovenia. Cindy is watching. Good morning, Cindy, from YouTube, as always. Dawn's here. Hey, guys, finally got free on a Friday, so good morning. Our good friend Ray's here. Good morning, Peter. Walsh and Marshall. Shout out to the entire Blue Crew, says Greg Kitson. Mario, Ray says he owes you an email. Cindy, just about all of her screen printing equipment is M&R. So that's good to hear.
Thank you, Cindy.
Greg says, Peter, who wrote your North Star comment regarding the Polaris?
That was me.
Good. And then Mark says, good morning, guys. He must be saying hello from the next room.
I've got the door pretty well blocked. He may be able to force his way in, but we're trying to keep him out.
Do you have the chair under the door handle?
I do. Doing our best.
Well, great. So let's see. Did I get a link? Nope. All right. So we're moving forward without the link. So we have some things to talk about today. And I think the big news is that you guys did something yesterday, right? So let's talk about that. And so what's going on, Peter?
Well, yesterday we had a very major product release. It may be the biggest release in M&R's history. One thing I kind of wanted to reference back to, M&R was founded in 1985. And in 1987, we did something which was what we're calling a disruptor to the garment printing industry. And in 1987, just 2 years after the company was formed, Rich Hoffman kind of shook up the industry with the launch of the GTS 8-station, 6-color gauntlet. That machine, made automatic screen printing equipment available to a lot more people at a lower entry price than had ever been available. And, I think we can really kind of look back at Rich and give him credit for building, the apparel decorating industry, or certainly changing the format. And then over that period from 87 through to 2022, I think M&R, and once again, I'm going to come back to Rich's vision and his commitment to innovation. I think M&R's got a very proud history of adding innovative solutions to people that have been both improving productivity and quality. And it carries through right up until yesterday when we introduced the Polaris, which is a machine that will produce in excess of 300 DTG prints per hour with a single operator, and even higher productivity if you're running an operator, a loader and unloader. And that is a machine that is going to fill a path in the market that we think is critical. It does not replace screen printing. It does not replace hybrid printing. It's a piece of a strategy, a 4-channel strategy, if you like, to garment decorating. It's not, is screen better than digital? Is digital better than hybrid? Is hybrid better or worse than DTF? Which is DTF is something that's really become a hot topic. And the answer is no. It's not about the equipment you've got. It's about the application. What do you have to do? And there is some equipment that will fit that application better than others. And we think the Polaris has got a real part to play moving forward.
Yeah, and so we're going to talk about the 4-channel idea here in a minute. But so just explain how this works, because there's a pre-treater and then there's looks like 2 print heads, and we were trying to get a movie of the thing printing, and maybe somebody will send us that real quick. But just kind of walk us through how this unit works.
Okay, well, if we start at the load station, which is where you can see that HMI control panel, at the load station you have a barcode scanner reader. And that barcode scanner reader is going to take the information on the print. You've scanned the print, you load the shirt, scan the barcode, and it will take that data and it'll split the design into a white channel and a CMYK channel. It will put those two, put the image to the white print engine and the CMYK print engine. It will identify whether it's a 100% cotton garment, a 50-50 blend, a tri-blend. It'll apply the appropriate amount of pre-treatment based on what your formula has been developed. And so you've loaded the shirt. The first station is a heat press. And what it does, it'll press the fiber down, it'll flatten the fiber. And what we're trying to do is achieve the best possible surface to print on. And think of it like a smoothing screen you would have in screen printing. The next station after the heat press is our pre-treat applicator. It'll automatically apply the right amount of pre-treatment based on the garment type. After the pre-treatment has been applied, it'll go under 2 inline high velocity airflow quartz flash curers that will measure temperature of the pallet, of the print, so that you can, and that'll all be part of that barcode. What kind of temperature, time are we searching for? And then just before it goes into the white printer, it'll go into another heat stamper, which will flatten the fibers. So you're searching for, as I say, the best possible printing surface. The machine will index under the white print station, where we're putting wet white ink on top of dry pre-treatment. So we're not getting any kind of spread of the ink or loss of resolution. And then after printing the white ink wet on top of the pre-treatment, between the white print engine and the color print engine, there's another high airflow velocity quartz flash, which will gel off the white ink. So that when we put the CMYK on top of it, it kind of maintains that high resolution image. The print is then loaded into a dryer where it needs only 3 minutes at 300 degrees F to cure the ink fully. So you don't get that loss of color intensity that some DTG systems that require maybe 8 to 11 minutes to cure that saturated garment. You put a print into the dryer, it looks pretty decent. You get out the other end and it's lost a lot of intensity and sharpness. That's not the case. Our wet on dry printing technique enables us to maintain really high resolution and color accuracy and intensity. And the fact it's only in the dryer for 3 minutes means that what you put into the dryer looks exactly the same as what comes out the other end.
So we got a video.
You did?
Yep. So can
you must know somebody. I could never get a video. Can you send me this after the present? This is Chris.
So do you want to describe what's going on here?
Well, yeah, what you've got is a single operator. So he is loading the shirt. And you've got the option, you can use this machine for batch printing. So you could print 10 or 12 or 30 pieces per design. Or you could be using the barcode scanner in the software to scan each garment, and you could have every garment as an individual print. Now, what you saw before was Chris working when I'm not in the office, and this is the speed I like to see working when I am in the office. So
this is after what, 3 or 4 Red Bulls, right?
yeah, this is exactly right. Now I know they've got a sped up version of the video, but I'm pretty sure on the website they're going to be hosting a real time so that you can see the machine printing in real time, and you'll see the fact that every shirt coming off is different. What's interesting, when we were putting this together, we actually had in the very first station, we had the pre-treater. We were spraying the pre-treater onto the garment first, and then we had 2 flash curers and 2 heat presses curing the ink. And Michelle Moxley came back to me one day and said, you know, this is nuts. We're taking a garment that has fibers sticking up and all that stuff that we deal with. You know, some fabrics can be like trying to print onto a wet cat. And she said, we're printing this pre-treatment onto the garment, which is like a glue, while the fibers are sticking in the up position. And then after having printed this glue on the shirt, you're heating it to kind of solidify the fibers in the up position. And then you're trying to smash them back down with a heat press at the end. She said, what if we use the heat press on the front end to push the fibers down to create that great surface before we put the pre-treatment on? And that was a breakthrough moment for the quality print image coming off the Polaris.
Well, these, I'm showing the video now that I was sent with all the shirts that were printed.
Yeah.
And that looks really great. So I really love what you guys have done here. And we got some comments. So let's just get those out. So Simon says it's not the equipment, it's how you use it. Exactly. And Charles says that's a really cool machine. Is this going to replace the digital squeegee?
No. Yeah. DTG is great. Every printing methodology has pros and cons. And the pros of DTG printing, it enables you to print on demand, or what I would call unit of one production. And DTG is the only way you can do unit of one production, because the make ready for hybrid printing or screen printing, hybrid printing, you might be making 3 or 4 screens. Traditional screen printing, you could be making 10 screens. You need to have quantity of a design to do that with screen or with hybrid. DTG gives you the ability to do unit of one. Hooray for us. The problem is it's really limited in the fabrics you can print onto. And I tell people DTG is the ultimate solution for 100% cotton. It's possible to dial it in on tri-blends of some manufacturers and poly-blend, be it sweatshirts or T-shirts. But it's really a solid thing for cotton, and so possible for some poly-blends. Hybrid or screen, we have the ability that we can pick an underbase and match it to the requirement of the fabric we're printing on. If I'm printing on 100% cotton, I've got one type of underbase. If I'm printing on 100% poly, I'm going to put a bleed blocker down and then my underbase. So it's different strokes for different folks, Marshall.
Right. So let me ask you this. So this, obviously you printed all these shirts that were different. So let's say we have a stack of shirts. Can we, with a barcoding system, let's say, I don't know, let's just say there's 100 shirts on the stack.
Yep.
Can we preload the designs that match each shirt? And so it's kind of like a machine gun where we're just loading the shirts, the design's coming up, or do we have to individually barcode and scan each shirt? Can we do it all in once? So the application here, of course, is for print on demand web stores where you've got all these different designs, you've got all these different shirts, And what we want to do is high speed get them out instead of using a pod of 4 or 5 or 9 or 10, DTG presses. We could just do one press and we're getting everything out with faster speed. But how do you envision the barcoding thing where we're loading the designs?
Well, here's the thing. You could do what you said. You could preload, let's say 30 different designs or 100 different designs. You could preload those, and you've got an Excel spreadsheet, and you've loaded design 1, and you look across, it says on shirt number 1, it's a Gildan 5000 medium red. So you could pull that shirt, you could put it position number 1 in the stack, and you could work through and you could build your stack based on the order that they are in the the order they are in the spreadsheet, and you can match it up to the designs. But what if the phone rings, or you go to the bathroom, or something happens and you get out of sequence at shirt number 14? You could find out that you're printing Green Bay Packers logos on Chiefs red shirts, and that just won't work.
It won't work.
So the thing is, the benefit of the barcode scanning is, your system has printed out a barcode that's got all of the data related to that specific shirt. And if it's a polycotton shirt versus 100% cotton, or if it's a white shirt versus a black shirt, if it's a shirt you're doing for print on demand versus a shirt you're doing that has to have retail quality, you can have different profiles and different amounts of pre-treatment and different temperatures you're curing at and different times that you're stamping for. If it's a sweatshirt, obviously you're going to have to move the print head higher for clearance. All of that information is captured in what they call a JSON file. And that all comes down to the Polaris. And the Polaris is about 12 individual systems working in harmony together. And what happens is that information is tied to that barcode, to that shirt. So you might have been intending it to print it as a 14th shirt in the stack. But if for some reason you print it as a 17th shirt in the stack, it doesn't matter. The machine will know what garment it is, what design it's meant to have, how much pre-treatment, what temperature, how the white unit should print and how the color unit should print. So that building the machine was the easy part. Getting the systems to work together and providing that barcode scan and print software has been very intense. But we're there. We have a good system.
I like it. So here's a good question, probably what everybody's thinking. So the 800-pound gorilla in the room, what is the price range and consumable cost?
Well, we went out yesterday, and I put some examples out there, and people are welcome to email me, or I can put on your site, Marshall. We had a couple of designs yesterday that were in that 13 by 17 inch image size, print on 100% cotton at retail quality. And retail quality is different to print on demand, but we printed retail quality. The 200% cotton shirts, total cost of chemistry, so that is ink and pre-treatment, was about 90 cents for each of the shirts. We also printed a 50-50 polyester sweatshirt that had a profile with an 8 passes of white, 4-pass color, and that had a chemistry cost, I think, of $1.53. And these were actual prints. And, we went out to the industry, because how often have you heard people go out there say, yeah, well, it's about, and it's got no reality to it. We've been as transparent as possible. We'll take your garment, print your design on your garment, and tell you how much ink and pre-treatment it used. But the information is out there. It's in the public domain. We showed it to the world yesterday.
Right. So I think Brian wants to know how much the press is.
You know what? The press is a $825,000 investment. And one of the things, we said on the presentation yesterday was when you spend that amount of money on a piece of equipment, you're not buying a press, you're investing in a relationship for the future with that manufacturer.
Right.
You spend that amount of money and you're stuck with something that doesn't work or is not supported, you're in a world of trouble. So we spent a little bit of time yesterday on the presentation looking at the history of M&R, where we've been, where we're going, and reinforcing our commitment to the industry that
right.
Come on board with us, join us on this journey, and we'll have some fun.
Right, great. So our good friend Charlie's here. He says, hi guys, enjoyed watching the Polaris in action yesterday. And Ray says, so Polaris is technically a multi-channel DTG coupled with multi-fabric pre-prep that removes the need for underbase and blocker tuning via the screen.
Jesse, if I can ever get that, refined into a marketing slogan, we'll do it. But at the moment, seems inaccurate, but complicated description.
Right. Well, great. Well, I love seeing all that stuff, and I think there's a definite need for this, especially with the print-on-demand channels and people who are doing a lot of small runs that they never end. Right. Yeah. I know people who are 24/7 printing DTG stuff. And so I think this really fills a really nice niche for that. So good job.
Marshall, one other piece of information we shared yesterday, there were some surveys done by a company called Grandview Research at the end of 2019 that looked at the worldwide graphic decorating industry, the number of impressions that were being made, and they estimated that at the end of 2018, there were about 15 to 16 billion impressions made globally, and that they estimated that between 18 and 23, there would be an 11% CAGR or compound annual growth rate, which meant by 2023, we would be producing somewhere in the region of 25 billion impressions globally, of which they expected less than 3% to be printed digitally, with the balance still predominantly to be produced with screen print. And that really, you balance that information with the fact that over the last 5 years in the US, we've seen thousands, not tens, not hundreds, but thousands of DTG printers, everything from the higher speed industrial units of a company like Kornit or Aon down to the mid-level units from Epson Brother put into service. And it's like, man, if there are thousands of these DTG printers operating, what are they printing if they're not converting that at a rate more than 3%? They're not converting from analog screen print to digital. And we really feel that what the DTG printers have done is create a whole new vertical for the industry. That print-on-demand market, the ability to sit on your couch with your smart device, order a T-shirt that you picked out, the style of shirt, you picked out the color, the size, the graphics, and 48 hours later, it turns up at your house in a mailing bag.
Yeah, right.
That's an industry, and that's a service level that screen has never been able to offer. You can only do it digitally. So, we see digital has really been additive to the garment decorating industry. It's not replacing screen, but it's been additive. But then the question is, if at the same time we're in a market where the the licensed brands and the retailers are looking for shorter run, quicker turn. Why aren't they converting more of their business over to digital at a quicker rate? And we believe it's the reason has been because the quality of the digital print doesn't meet their retail standard. And we feel that the Polaris, with its wet on dry print process, so apply the pre-treatment, dry the pre-treatment, print the wet white ink, flash cure the white ink, print the CMYK. We think we've got something that will accelerate that conversion from analog screen to digital.
Yeah, right. So I think it's just fascinating, and I was laughing when you said the retail quality, because I've been in stores and I'm looking at the print, going, how did this get get past the quality review, right? So
yeah, it wasn't shipped; it escaped.
All right, so I think we got some comments, and then I want to shift to a new topic. So where are we? So Ray says that the list price for the machine is cheap in his estimation. The device is 8/10 of a complete shop, right? So outside of packaging and prepping and design departments, that machine is most of the shop. That's a really good thought there, Ray.
Look at it.
So Greg says print on demand is B2C is the future for sure. And Ray also said his perspectives, a lot of the industrial level Cornette type systems are involved in semi-industrial fabrics, wallpapers, fabrics, drapery. I see the Polaris is aimed more squarely at the garment, which is nice. Hurley's here from Canada. Good morning. And then Greg says the consumer is not as garment decoration critical as they are interested in the message of the moment, right? And that's completely true.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt. So let's shift into something that you were talking about pre-show and you alluded to earlier, which is really about the 4 channels of apparel printing. And so I think this is ripe for discussion and engagement. So if you're watching right now, when Peter's chatting about this, share what you do, share your thoughts in that. We would love to get a good discussion going with that. So Peter, what are you talking about when you talk about the 4 channels?
Well, one of the things that's happened as we obviously through hybrid printing and now with the Polaris, we are certainly expanding our focus very significantly into digital printing. And one of the things we're getting feedback from the what I call the traditional screen printers saying, man, when Rich Hoffman was here, M&R was a screen printing company, and you guys are abandoning screen and you're running away to digital. And I don't know if you're the right supplier for me anymore. And I come back to that 97% comment. I come back to screen printing equipment, presses, dryers, eye images, screen washing systems. They are still more of our business today and will be for the next foreseeable future than digital will ever be. Screen printing is different, but sometimes you got to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. And the way we kind of try and explain that is the industry is not, hey, I'm a screen printer, so I'm going to tell you why digital is evil. I'm a digital printer, I'm going to tell you why screen printing is old hat. It comes down to what is the application, because we believe there are 4 channels in garment decorating, and every one of them has strengths and weaknesses. Channel 1 would be screen printing, traditional screen printing. Channel 2 would be what I call traditional direct-to-garment printing. Channel 3 would be hybrid printing. Channel 4 would be direct-to-film printing, which is a really big deal. If you've not looked into direct-to-film printing, if you haven't caught up with it, please go there, because that is going to be an important part of rounding out the picture in garment decorating solutions. But let's come back and look at traditional screen. I can buy, for $150,000, I can buy a screen printing press that will produce at a rate of 600 to 800 garments an hour, 10, 12 screens. And the press, we've got presses that have been running for 30 years in the field, Marshall. So you can buy that $150,000 screen press, produce it 700, 800 pieces an hour, and do it for a long time. The inks you use are going to be comparatively low cost. So you've got speed, you've got quality, low equipment cost. However, you've got a high make-ready cost. What does it cost you to separate the file, mix those special colors, make a screen for every color, get it set up on press? So if you're printing on larger volume production, nothing compares to screen. And the fact that we talked about, screen enables you to match the ink that you use to the fabric you're printing. Oh, it's an open architecture, it's an open system. Now move to DTG. Pros of DTG, the ability, very little make-ready cost, the ability to do a unit of one or print on demand or ultra-low quantity, kind of some challenges of DTG, comparatively high cost of consumable, comparatively high cost of equipment compared to lifespan, and relatively slow production costs, slow production rates. But probably to me, one of the biggest challenges DTG has, it's limited in the fabrics you can print on. It's exceptional on 100% cotton and acceptable on blended fabrics. But in its space, it is the best solution for what it does really well. Hybrid, not as new and sexy as it used to be. I've been out now for 5 years at M&R, but the digital squeegee to me still is the technology I'm probably the most excited about, because it combines screen printing, so I can print on anything I could traditionally screen print, I can do on hybrid, because I can match the underbase to the fabric. I can do CMYK on top of it, put a clear coat. Downside that I'm still making 3 or 4 screens, so I have that cost, and I can't make unit of one. But if I'm doing 36 pieces or 50 pieces or 100 pieces, hybrid is fantastic. The fourth channel, which really has got me, keeps me awake at night, is this DTF process. DTF gives you the ability to do unit of one production, just like DTG. But the fact that we're applying a transfer to a fabric and we can avoid having those long retention times in the dryer normally associated with traditional DTG, and the fact that we can transfer onto basically any fabric makes DTF a real viable solution for unit one production on fabrics that don't work with traditional DTG.
And I'll tell you another thing that DTF is really attractive to a lot of shops is the lower skill required to run that in your business. And so if we're screen printers, it takes a long time to train somebody to register screens and to run the press. And there's a lot to know, right?
Yeah,
with DTF, a part-time college kid can do it with about 10 minutes of training, and you're up and running and going. And I think for a lot of people, that's such an attractive thing. Now, if you've got hundreds of prints to do, it's not a good thing. But if you're doing an online web store for a high school or whatever, or you're trying to turn things quickly and you're printing on all types of different things, a DTF transfer is really an attractive kind of way to do things, right?
Yeah. I'm totally totally tuned into the technology of DTF. Where I am a little concerned, a little bit worried at the moment, DTF reminds me of 10, 15 years ago with direct to garment. There are a lot of cowboys in there. There are people that are buying a printer from China, and they're buying inks, and they're buying adhesives from various manufacturers, and they've come up with a RIP solution, and they're bundling it all together. And, you know, there's nobody behind the whole package to support it. And people are investing money in that. And unfortunately, you know, if anybody who gets out here on these forums on YouTube, there's success, and there's also people that have been left at the altar with no one to support them. There are fortunately some very organized companies that are coming together and putting together some solutions that are really excited. So the other thing is that some of the regulatory issues, there are concerns with the toxicity of some of the adhesives being used when under heat under the drying process. So all I can encourage, while I'm encouraging people to look at DTF, I'm also saying be very careful to make sure that you understand any health and safety concerns. If you're dealing with a company that doesn't have, that can't provide STSs for the materials they're selling you,
right?
They can't tell you where they fit within a Nike RSL or an Ecotex or a GOTS standard. Be afraid, be very afraid.
Yeah. And so I think a question that's on everybody's minds is we see these printers from China and whatever, and when is M&R going to throw their hat into the machine, DTF machine business?
Well, I would say we are a 3-channel apparel decorating company. With the Polaris, we're industrial DTG, we're definitely Screenprinting, we're hybrid. And before year end 2022, our plan is for M&R to be a 4-channel company. And we'll be providing an industrial DTF solution. But it'll be before year end.
Good. So could we see something at Printing United maybe?
I'll tell you, it could be, but we're
not to put you on the spot or anything.
Well, yeah, people have been a little bit busy with the Polaris, but as I said, we have to be able to walk and chew gum as well. So we've done a little bit of that.
Hey, we got some comments here, so let's get them out. So Ray says he has to go. So thanks, Ray. Great show, great machine debut. My last comment is that all screen printing, except for pure serigraphs, is an industrial process. I hate calling it a craft because that means it cannot be made uniform, which is not true. Digital and screen in the industrial world is connected at the hip. My world uses both with no issues. So that's fantastic. Thanks, Ray, as always. Josh Wiley says good morning from Oklahoma. Good seeing him. Josh says, with stalls, by the way, happy Friday, guys. Love hearing Peter's point of view.
And by the way, Marshall, stalls have some really good programs with DTF that, you know, and I talk about the value of the support. If you're looking for a supplier that's going to give you tremendous support, you know, talk to stalls. You know, they have some great programs for DTF, and I'd certainly encourage you to look at what they're offering.
Right.
And that's no paid endorsement. It's just I admire those guys. I admire the way they go to market, and I admire the way they stand behind everything they make.
Right. Good. So John says there are a few things like watching home crafters flip out over why their L800 doesn't produce DTF right out of the box. That's pretty funny. Hurley says, what I enjoy about manual screen printing is the specialty inks. There are so many techniques with specialty ink that I can't see any other machine outperforming the manual printer. Absolutely. Well, you can use specialty inks on an auto printer. By the way, we've got Ray Smith with Aviant on the show next week. I will be in Houston and I won't be able to do the show. So Alan and Ray will be here just like Peter and I are here today. So Rob is here. Hey, Rob, I've seen your pics on Super HD prints. Amazing. Last I saw anything like this was FESPA a couple years ago. Always good to see Rob. Mario says, I bought an iDot in 2011, so congratulations on this big leap with Polaris. What type of white ink does the printhead #1 run, and how does it not dry in the printhead over time and during production when it gets hot in the shop? What a great question. So what's the story with that, Peter?
Well, the story is this type of equipment needs a controlled environment. The enemy of these water-based inks, they are the water-based inks we use for digitally printing, the white and the CMYK. The enemy is probably more so than temperature is low humidity. But you're really looking at having the shop controlled in a 50 to 90 degree Fahrenheit range and humidity above 50%. And we have some humidification devices that come with the machine to provide humidification, but they will take the ambient and they'll increase what ambient humidity is up to 10 or 15% higher. So if you've got ambient humidity of like 40%, and with the equipment that we supply with the press, it comes at it gets you up to that 55%. You're going to have very stable performance of the print heads. But if you're running the machine at 110 degree in a facility that's got 110 degree temperatures and 20% humidity, two things are going to happen. You're going to struggle with printhead stability, and you'll be doing excessive head cleanings. It'll take you longer in the morning to get the machine running, and you could be investing a lot of money in keeping your machine operating at peak performance than it would have ever cost you to get the facility right to meet the application.
Right.
And that's part of the pre-sale narrative. That's part of the pre-installation surveys we do. And we are looking at some options to create some humidification and temperature controlled spaces around the printhead. So imagine a 12 by 12 plexiglass type room around each of the printheads that bring that environmental control. Because you know what, when you're selling to DTG printers, they know all of this stuff. They have facilities that are air conditioned and humidity controlled. Screen printers are going to want to drop a Polaris into the middle of their screen print environment, no control. So we are working to create localized conditions. But at the end of the day, for best performance, you need the correct operating conditions.
Right. Okay, so our buddy Richard's here. Better late than never. Shoveling snow, listening to his wake up playlist.
Morning, Richard.
And then Alan has chimed in. Evidently, he is between flights or something, so his flight's delayed again. Love biz travel, and he says that you're doing a great job filling in. So congratulations.
Yeah, you got that from Alan. I mean, that's high praise. High praise indeed. Thanks, Alan.
Right. And so Rob says you might have lost your seat. Early says excellent. He couldn't disagree. And Jesse's here with Matsui. So ink technology has also improved. He wanted to throw that in.
Yeah, and we are fortunate to work in an industry where there are some innovative companies like a Matsui, like Avient, who are pouring the resources into these water-based inks. I know we have customers that particularly with the hybrid system where Matsui has gone in and created some great solutions for the underbases, and certainly Jesse's at the pointy end of that spear. He's the guy who'll go in hands-on press and has created some great solutions. So I'm a fan of Jesse and the team at Matsui, and certainly Mr. Ray and his people at Aviant. I mean, the industry is getting better because the manufacturers are not accepting status quo. They're working to make things better. So it's really good stuff. It's exciting times.
Right. So Ray is here today. Don't forget, he's going to be hosting with Alan next week while I'm in Houston. So he says, great way to spend a Friday lunch. Thanks, Ray. Hey, I want to jump to another topic real quick, and it's been all over the news in the industry, which is about Inksoft and Printavo being bought by Blue Star Investments, which is the investment arm of the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones. And so it's very interesting, and I think everybody's got a good take on that. I'd love to hear what you think about that, because these are two platforms that are really about sales and about organizing your information and stuff. And a lot of M&R shops, use one or both of these, right? So from a manufacturer, what do you guys think about that? I mean, I think it's kind of a really awesome and interesting thing. What do you think, Peter?
I think the combination of the resources of Printavo and Inksoft is a really great thing. I don't think up to this point, I don't think there's been a complete system there for garment printers. And there are some things that Bruce and his team at Printavo have done exceptionally well. There have been some components the Inksoft team have done exceptionally well. But it seemed that, you look at their solutions, and, believe me, we've had a lot of discussions with these guys. And in some cases, they're like 350 degrees of a circle. They just like that little bit to get back around. And putting these two teams together, I have to believe that really great stuff's going to happen. I hope that Jerry Jones doesn't take his Cowboys philosophy and come in and help us out with his direct knowledge of how print production systems should be, because we've seen how successful it is at building the Dallas Cowboys into a...
Hey, as a Dallas Cowboys fan, I totally understand that comment.
But no, listen, it's a great thing putting those guys together. I do hope that whoever is in charge of the system will make Bruce wear the appropriate size T-shirt. I mean, the guy's wearing a children's medium most times, so these muscles and the pecs and everything stick out. Let's get that.
Well, he's following Orion Moore's playbook, I think.
Well, yeah, you're right, but he doesn't have the ability to have the spiky hair. But let's get Bruce into a men's large so that he's more comfortable and not.
Hey, who's in here talking about my Dallas Cowboys, huh?
Hey, what's going on, Mark?
Hey, guys. Hey, Marshall, how are you guys?
Mark has just sent me an email saying, why haven't they played the promo? Why haven't they?
Oh, we jumped right into the discussion and we didn't play the promo.
We're
gonna be promo-less this week, I think.
All right, that's okay. We're promoting GSG here.
That's right. How are you doing?
Good to see you. I'm doing great. I'll get out of the way.
Thanks,
Mark.
See, Peter, we don't do everything the right way all the time.
We do not. We suck.
So
my aim was to be never invited to host the show again. Hopefully I've achieved that. The listener backlash you're going to get after today, it'll be never again.
Right. I wouldn't say that. We do want to, we got some ideas about future shows that we're going to kind of build out. So maybe we'll work on that. So Jesse says, thanks, Peter. 100% about the industry. Alan's agreeing, and he did a little emoji. Actually, several emojis. So, hey, we got just enough time to kind of sneak in some talk about trade show participation. And I would like you to share where M&R is going to be because I think everybody, I know that I did. I missed you guys in Long Beach. I'm a big fan of you, of everything M&R does, and miss seeing you and hanging out and doing stuff. So where are you guys going to be later this year? So if somebody wanted to talk to somebody from M&R, they know where to go.
Well, just take half a step back, really kind of apologize to people that feel that we let them down at Long Beach. When we were sitting there at mid-December, late December, looking at what was happening with the COVID, the latest variant and infection rates, our CEO made the decision, and it wasn't unanimously supported, but made the decision that in the best interests of our employees and our customers, that M&R would not participate in the Long Beach show. We notified the people at Impressions Expo early in the piece. We were not running out in the industry trying to create havoc. We gave them time to adapt, and you notice that they took the space that had been assigned to M&R and they moved another exhibitor into that space that would provide interest and attraction for people to come to the show. So we worked very closely with the people, but to be honest, as much as you do, we've copped some comments, and there's a blend of people say, hey, we understand what you did, we support what you did, and certainly a bunch of people that have come back and said, hey, you guys kind of let us down. So for the people that feel that way, really apologize. I'm sorry you feel that way, but we made the best decision we thought possible at the time for the right reasons. But moving forward, we will be at the Atlantic City show. We have a booth space at Atlantic City. We will be at FESPA Berlin in May. We will be at Printing United in Las Vegas in October. And we will be supporting our distributor GSG at the GPX Irving and ISS Fort Worth shows. So that's kind of what the balance of the year is looking like. There is a GPX Indianapolis that we're looking at.
That's in June.
But that's where we're at. That's the M&R trade show story. Moving forward.
So will you be the shows that you're putting together? They're bringing your equipment. Are you showing the Polaris? Are you just showing the Cobra? Or
what we're showing is setting a Polaris up. The requirement for a controlled environment. It's a lot that goes into setting a Polaris up. The installation of the machine is a pretty extensive process. So what we'll be doing, we'll be showing, now we may take the Polaris to Las Vegas because Printing United is such a big show for the apparel decorating industry. And also, if you haven't been following Printing United, which is the old SGIA, they've really made a huge commitment to the apparel decorating segment. Back in the old days of SGIA, I think we apparel people, we were the stepchildren of the thing. We were stepchildren to graphic printing, graphic screen printing. And when graphic screen printing was dying off, it seemed like SGIA jumped right onto digital printing, and we were still the stepchildren. But that team they've got over there now running Printing United, they have a huge commitment to apparel decorating. And right. So we may take the Polaris to Las Vegas, but for FESPA Europe and for Atlantic City, we'll have a Cobra with the digital squeegee printing on it. And our feeling is that with the digital squeegee printing onto a screen printed underbase, we'll be able to kind of cross-sell, upsell, if you like. Hey, this is digital printing on a screen printed white. Mm-hmm. We'll have a multitude of samples, and people a lot smarter than me about the technology to talk about differences between hybrid and the Polaris printing. And we may even have the opportunity to do live crosses back to M&R Roselle, where people will be able to see the Polaris in action on our 9-screen video wall that we'll have at the show.
Oh, cool. I love the video wall. That's great. So got some comments here. So Alan says, sorry, Peter, you're in every week.
No.
So Ray says, hey, nothing about the Chiefs.
Nothing about the Chiefs. I did have someone this week give me a Rams Super Bowl shirt, and because it was a free shirt from a very nice customer, I accepted it. I just don't know if I'll ever wear it, but maybe I'll send it to Bruce. It's a large. It'll
right.
Get him used to wearing the right size shirt.
Josh says, Peter is awesome as always. Mario has a question. Will M&R get into laser to screen in the future?
Yeah, I hope so. I think that is probably the most interesting technology in screen imaging at the moment. The idea that it's no consumable cost, I don't know that that's been fully baked yet, because I don't think we've seen over time the performance of the laser, degradation of the laser, what type of lifespan before we have to upgrade lamps, whatever. So yeah, it may be, but it's interesting technology. Obviously, you have a few additional considerations. You have to have a very fast exposing emulsion, which would rule you out in a lot of cases from using a dual cure. But yeah, hey, it's certainly on our radar.
Good. Cindy says, running to lunch, great information. Thank you all. Yay, GSG. And I want to second that. GSG is awesome. Thanks for sponsoring. Rob says the digital squeegee rocks. That output quality and versatility are awesome.
And go Source One. Look at all these great people, these industry experts that are on board.
Yeah, we always have great people watch the show. So all right, well, that's going to wrap it up. We're out of time. So I'm going to throw your email up here real quick. Just if anybody's got any questions or comments or whatever, this is how they can get a hold of you. And I'm sure you can direct them to the right salesperson.
Yeah, and I also try and spend a little bit of time in the M&R Blue Machine Facebook group. They've got about 2,500 members across there, and we get some great questions posed there. I had something like last week about people looking for a particular sealing rubber, high temperature sealing rubber for their Sprint dryers, and it kind of got to be a bit of a conversation among people there. Was able to kind of jump into the middle of that, and I think get some good results for people. So yeah, certainly feel free to email me directly, but if you want to embarrass me in front of the world, go out there and print the Blue Machine group and let me have it with both barrels.
Great. So thank you so much for your time today, Peter. You've been great. And also big shout out to GSG for hosting you and allowing you to do the video right there in GSG headquarters. That's pretty cool. So
yeah, a great group of people down here, Marshall.
All right. Well, okay. So don't go anywhere. I'm just going to end the broadcast. So thanks, guys. Appreciate you watching.